This is Shutters Inc. with Bruce Williams and Glynn Lavender.
Hi and welcome to episode 552 of Shutters Inc. This is Bruce Williams from shuttersincpodcast.com, and joining me once again with his sexy voice from Melbourne, it is Mr. Glynn Lavender from creativephotoworkshops.com.au. How are you?
If you think I'm sexy and you want my money, I'm a Shetland pony today, mate.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Little horse.
I'm a little horse, yeah.
That's
right. I walked up to a soft serve ice cream van yesterday and said, can I have a cone dipped in chocolate? And the guy said, crushed nuts? I said, no, just a bit of laryngitis. Yeah, so sorry, folks. For some reason, I woke up this morning just a little on the crunchy side of the voice. So we're going to keep this pretty short.
So what have you been up to in the last 2 weeks?
Not a lot the last couple of weeks, just a bit of tidying up the end of the project for Tamron Japan.
Yep, nice.
Yesterday I went into Tamron Australia's head office and we filmed some shorts and some reels and some intro stuff for the new lens when it comes out. So we talked about some photos, we talked about the lens, and so maybe that was it. Maybe because I actually socialised with people yesterday and talked to people that my voice goes, nah, one day's enough, dude.
Yeah, that's enough socialising for now, lads.
Yeah, got a fair old cough going this morning too, which is good. So, yeah, so one day of being social, the body's going, I'm done. Yeah.
So I take it that was where you were playing around with the roto adjustable diffusion video light thing.
Yeah. So what's happening in October this year? I'm being involved in the Bright Festival of Photography, which I think we talked about last episode or a recent episode.
Do you qualify as Bright?
Fortunately, it's the location, not the subject matter. So I'm doing two sessions, two lots of two workshops. So the same workshop, 2 different days.
Right.
One's called Photographing in Shit Locations. That's the actual title of it. And
Nice.
So how to create interesting photos when you've got absolutely nothing to work with.
Yep.
And the second one's an evening photo walk around town with LED lighting.
Oh, nice.
And so this company, Roto Light, has approached me to do the lighting, use their lighting for this stuff. And this is high-end, expensive lighting, but bloody marvellous. So one thing, first up with the lights alone, so think of it like an LED panel, but it's round rather than square or a rectangle.
Yeah.
But it's got its own app. So you can dial, you can connect it via app. So if your light's 50 feet down the corridor or whatever you're shooting and throwing light back at you, you can control colour. You got 16 million colours you can choose from. You can control intensity. You can control all sorts of stuff without having to walk 50 feet back and forward. And
Nice.
You don't get a physique like mine by doing that much exercise, Bruce. It's so that's going to be pretty cool. And whilst I was looking over their lights and learning to play with the app and stuff, they pulled out this thing called the Smart Softbox.
Okay.
And which is basically it's another attachment that goes onto the light, and it's a softbox, so it's designed to make the light softer, which is what it does. But you can dial on the back of it, turn this little dial, and it changes opacity from basically almost see-through to complete opacity.
Wow.
So you have amazing control of not only the softness, but how much softness and how much light combination you want. Not quite infinite control, but a lot more variety than you've ever been able to do before.
That's very cool.
Never seen anything like it. It was really quite remarkable.
It makes me wonder, is there some sort of principle behind that design that is in line with variable ND filters? Like, is it?
It's that kind of feel to it, yeah. Where maybe it's got these two opaque things, but I don't know. But it didn't seem to rotate. It just seemed to just disappear.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so you turn this dial and the opacity just magically just dissipated. Which so I put a little short reel up on my Facebook and it's like, this is just remarkable. So I don't know. It was just an incredible piece of kit. And I was talking to them. I said, "What would be also great if you could come out with a Fresnel lens for this thing." So rather than, because like all LED panels, they have a fairly wide throw.
Yeah.
So I was thinking, if you could get a Fresnel lens to go on the front of this to focus light, and if you could turn the dial and the lines on the Fresnel lens change how close and how far away they are, so you could then focus the light further and closer.
Yeah.
And they've gone, ooh. So I don't know. It's like I've thrown them an idea which may, at some time come into fruition. I don't know. I'm not sure what the technical limitations would be, but either way, some sort of Fresnel lens. For those who don't know what a Fresnel lens is, often miscalled a Fresnel lens.
Yeah.
It's like the thing on the front of your flash. If you've got a flash gun, you've got those little concentric circles. It kind of focuses the light and gives it direction. Yeah. And anytime you're playing with light, as a photographer, control is king. So that's control of brightness, softness, angles, and edges of the light. Yeah. So, so that was pretty good. It was kind of a fun little, and after being around, and actually the guy showing me said exactly this. Wow, for someone who's been around so long to be shown something new, that's really cool. And I completely agree. Getting to see something new that you hadn't seen before, it just kind of warmed this jaded heart. Not much. Like it went from ice cold to slightly tepid, but very, very cool. So that was a fun day.
Yeah, nice.
Highlight of the day, of course, would be the pork belly banh mi from the shop round the corner.
Sorry?
From the shop. You don't know what a banh mi? You know what a banh mi is?
No.
Don't know what a banh mi is? Oh, no. Bruce, where have you been living, mate? Banh mi is a Vietnamese roll. Bread roll with vegetables and either chicken or pork or whatever it is. They're God's gifted rolls to sandwiches.
Right, okay.
Next one, so BANHMI. Check them out. Keep an eye out for them.
Okay.
And if you see one, get one.
Right. Okay.
And you'll never look backwards unless you think someone's trying to steal your banh mi. Then you'll keep looking over your shoulder. But around the corner, they've got this amazing way where they do this pork belly and grated carrot coleslaw. Grated apple coleslaw. It's the only reason I drive the whole hour up there to see them. I'm going to see you guys. What, are you taking me out for lunch? Where could we go? Let's go here.
Nice.
Very subtle. I think they might be wise to me. So that's kind of the majority of what I've been doing this last little bit of time, I think.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so not an awful lot. It doesn't seem like 2 weeks ago to say.
Right.
Mind you, I've had my youngest one in hospital and off sick, and my eldest one off sick, and my wife's been off sick, and I've been. It's just been a joyful winter of flus and all sorts of stuff down here this year.
Oh, that's no good, mate. No good.
Yeah, but tis what it is. And what about yourself? Have you been planning your move?
I've been out shooting those video backdrops that we discussed in the last episode.
Oh, that's right.
For the
I forgot
ABC.
all about that until you mentioned
I actually had a lot of fun doing that, and
really?
I'm going to keep on doing them. I've basically said to them what I'll aim to do is just get out once a week and shoot one more, and then that way we can build up quite a library of these backdrops. Sure. And as I've been thinking about it, and I've said to them what I plan to do is over the course of a 12-month period is create a bunch of these video backdrops and put them in folders by season, and then that way, whatever time of the year it is, we can bring up appropriate backdrops. And it also means that we are only using a quarter of the library at any one time, and so they won't age as quickly.
Do they wear out, do they?
Well, obviously the skyline of the city changes and certain things change, and so sometimes you do need to refresh them for that reason.
Yeah. So, but what you're saying is whether you use it every single day or once a year, the problem still exists.
Exactly.
Yeah, so it doesn't matter how many times you use them, Bruce. I suggest you should do it over a full year, not just 12 months.
Right.
And, try and get all the seasons.
Get those extra few days in.
Or come down to Melbourne and you've got those 4 seasons in an hour and your job's done pretty quickly.
The problem with that is it tends not to look like Newcastle then.
Oh, CGI, dude. AI, the whole thing.
Yeah, but anyway, I've had a lot of fun doing that. And
why don't you try and get one of your video backdrops and AI it? And I'm serious, and get an AI background, which could be kind of cool. Right. And just if you're doing a story on something that's a bit more techie, or I reckon it'd be really. Have you seen some of the AI videos that are out there? They're pretty. Go look at. They're pretty remarkable.
Yeah, right.
So what you could do to you, it would just add. People would be looking at your screen and go, "What the hell?" You know, wow. You know, but it's some real impact.
Yeah,
right. That would be so. And yeah, you never know. It'd be worth investigating.
Well, I've got to say, the girls in the newsroom have been absolutely ecstatic over the last week. The fact that A, there's some new backdrops, and B, they're high res, you know, because I'm shooting in 4K, and the 3 or 4 backdrops that they had previously, a couple of them were 1920 by 1080, but one of them was like 1024 by 576. It looked like it come out of a Minecraft server, you know.
Oh my God.
Just shocking.
That's hilarious. Welcome to the 90s. Yeah.
They're very appreciative to have some new video backdrops to use.
Oh, I'm sure. You'll have to take a photo. You have to take a photo of the TV screen of them presenting in front of one of your things.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so absolutely.
Yeah, do a screenshot.
Yeah, and part of the whole process of creating these, I realised that there were some challenges to what I was trying to do, because they said to me it'd be ideal if these could run just a little bit longer than an hour, because sometimes they're used for a 1 hour show called The Drum. And so I thought to myself, well, I don't really want to be taking up an entire, hour and a half out on a shoot. So if I can shoot maybe a 20-25 minute clip and just loop it a couple of times, then we end up with the same effect.
So the sun comes up, the sun goes back again, and it's back up again.
And that is exactly the problem. So what I did was a couple of them, it kind of worked, and a couple of them it was a bit obvious, where I would do like a 20-second transition. So that you don't notice it being super obvious. And it kind of works, and there's a couple of times where it didn't really work, but I
guess it depends on the time of day you do it. And some days will be better for it than others. I mean, if you've got a day with almost only blue sky, you're not going to have too many problems there except for shadows.
Exactly.
But if it's time of year and they're all either pretty high up, or 1 hour in the afternoon or 1 hour in the morning is not going to be, I suppose it will be reasonably different. Yeah. You want summer.
Yeah.
Almost straight down.
Yeah. So, been having fun with that. Did learn some things about video encoding bit rates and how I came across this formula that I'd not encountered before, which is if you want good quality in your video render, you should work on this is for 4K, you should work on the principle of 2,000 times your frame rate. So if your frame rate is 25 frames a second, then you multiply that by 2,000, which is like
100 or something.
Give you 50 megabits or 50,000 megabits per second is roughly the encoding bit rate you need. Because what had happened was I'd exported the first versions that I ran off at about 8,000 kilobits. Yeah. And I got them to work, and I dumped them on the USB key, and I plugged them into the TV, and I brought them up, and I went, oh, yuck, I can see all this artifacting, particularly in the big expanses of blue sky, where there was no changes, no tonal change. And you could see all this blocky artifacting. I'm going, oh, that looks like crap. And so came back to Google and started asking questions, and of course eventually came across this formula and went, ooh, okay, so that means I need to be encoding at a much higher bit rate. So I re-rendered the videos, and now they look much better than they did in the first renders. The downside, of course, is that when you're doing a 75-minute render, you end up with a file that's, close to 10 gigabytes in size. So I'm going to have to go and buy a bigger, like an SSD hard drive that can plug into the TV, because the 128 gig USB key is going to be full almost no time at all.
You think so?
Yeah. So that was one thing, and I've put it down in the show notes as my genius idea for travelling.
Oh dear, here we are.
I've not heard anyone else suggest this.
There could be a reason for that.
So it's possible that someone else has come up with this idea, or it, as you say, will suggest it might be a crap idea.
Go on.
But I had this idea, right? You're travelling with multiple memory cards. And there's always the possibility, we aim to be, careful with our gear, but there's always the possibility you might lose a memory card at some point.
Yes.
Yeah, you might drop it.
You could.
And it falls down a stormwater drain, or it falls over the edge of the boat, or whatever, and you can't recover it.
Yeah.
But someone might find that thing.
They might.
Right. Now, a memory card is not susceptible to water damage like a camera is, right? You could dry it out in some rice and the memory card will still work. So I had this idea. I thought, I wonder if I created a text file with contact details and stored that in the root directory of the memory card, would my camera still write to the memory card even though the Windows operating system has recently interfered with the memory card?
More than likely.
So I tried it, and it does work.
Of course.
And I thought, man, that's an awesome idea. Just put a contact details text file into the root directory of your memory card, put it on all your memory cards, which I've now done, and that way, if you do happen to lose your memory card and somebody else happens to find it, what are they going to do? The first thing they're going to do is they're going to stick it into their computer and go, can we somehow find the person who appears in these photos? And if they see that little contact details text file that says, if found, please contact, Bruce at, studio@audio2u.com, I thought, you could do worse.
Well, you could do worse. You could do nothing at all.
Exactly.
Now, you say it best when you say nothing at all, Bruce.
Now, the one caveat is this. The moment you reformat that card in camera, you're going to lose that text file.
Yes.
Because your camera will erase the card.
So don't reformat the card.
Exactly. And that's my intent. Like with my travel to Alaska, my intent is to take enough memory cards that I don't need to erase anything before I get home. And if I do run out, I'll just buy more cards while I'm traveling. But I'm taking enough cards that I believe will be more than enough for what I need for 3 weeks. And so I've put this little contact details text file onto each of the memory cards.
I have a few issues with your plan.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. In the greater world of ours, how many people, percentage-wise, do you think are tech-savvy?
Half.
Okay, Bruce. In this greater world of ours, how many people do you think are tech-savvy?
Less than half?
How much less than half, Bruce? Shall we say 10%?
I don't know.
1 in 10 may have the thought process.
Okay.
That's not a nerd like you. To go, you know what? I'm going to check this memory card to see what's on it. And all these other MPD file, all these other file folders that are on these things, they're going to find what, I'm looking for the address folder.
But that's the point. It's in the root directory. It's the first thing you're going to see.
No, it's not. People aren't going to look for that. Here's the next problem. Most people aren't going to have an SD card reader to read that card in the first place, to find out, rather than looking at your photo. Have you heard this is a new technology I was learning about last week. It's called a sticker, Bruce. And you put a sticker on the outside of the memory card with, if lost, please email this email.
Yeah,
that's it.
And then you need
'cause anyone could
vision
pick
to be
it
able
up
to read it, because the memory card is
It's okay. If lost, bold. If lost, bold. Details. Pretty simple.
Okay.
And most people will be able to look at that and go, "Oh, I think that might be information." That could be information right there. I better look at that. Get yourself a shortened URL for a way of contacting you. Pop it on the outside. Now, here's the thing.
QR code.
How many people?
QR code.
No, Bruce.
Yes.
No, Bruce, no.
Yes. QR code.
How many people
on the outside of the memory card?
I know what you're saying. It's just a stupid idea, Bruce.
No, it's not, because you can have a QR code that points to your own website.
Bruce, let's start this again. How many people in the world do you think are tech savvy?
Everyone knows how to use a QR code because of COVID.
They don't. No, they don't.
Yeah, they do.
You're going now. Excuse me being a bit rude to a small portion of our very small audience. You're going to the Americas, Bruce.
They still went through COVID. They know how to use a QR code reader now.
Oh, excuse me. That cold of mine is up. No, it's you are massively reducing the chance of finding your memory card if you put a QR code on it. Because I guarantee you right now, majority of people will not have a clue how to. I've watched people in restaurants try to order using the QR menu.
Oh, yeah.
They struggle to turn on their phone, Bruce, let alone aim it at the QR code. And you know what most of the times they do, and I've watched this over and over, they're pointing their phone at the QR code with the camera on, but it's the camera that's facing their face. So there's their face in the phone, and they're pointing it at the QR code, and they can't figure out why it doesn't work. And you want these people to try and return your memory card?
Yeah, fair enough.
If lost, please contact. Look at your SD memory card. How much data is put on there, Bruce? How much written information? You got brand names. You got how many megabits per second it could write. It's got all this information. You can cover up all that. Just put your info. And in the English-speaking world, in the Americas, you've got a 70% chance that people will be able to read. At a level that's competent to say, what does if lost mean?
Yeah, fair enough.
Always work to the lowest common denominator, because they're the ones who are walking around with their heads down because they're shuffling. They're the ones likely to see your memory card because they've got their heads down if you've dropped it.
Okay, I thought it was a good idea.
Lavender solves the world's problems again. Look, it doesn't hurt to have it on there. I'll give you that.
Yeah.
Because if they're one nerd who was trying to put his pen back in his pocket protector as he's walking along, is looking down, trying to get his pen in there, oh, look, there's a memory card. I bet that in the root file has someone's data about how to find them. First thing they'd think of. Yeah. Then out of their other pockets, they'd pull out their SD card reader device with the interface to their phone. Yeah. And here's the thing: don't ask them to send the card back to you, Bruce. They'll be able to from that SD card reader interface to their phone, be able to stream those photos on the card to your house immediately for you. Job done, and they can even keep the memory card.
Right. Okay.
And my job here is done.
Okay.
Feeling so much better now we've had this chat.
Since 2005, Shutters Inc. has been a labour of love. But beyond the time required to produce it, there is also a financial commitment. If you find value in the podcast and would like to help keep the servers running, hit up the Patreon link, which is in the show notes. Even a couple of dollars a month will help. Much appreciated. Now, back to the podcast.
You're going to love my first story.
Have you got a story?
Yeah.
I thought that was your story.
No.
Your first thing on here is my genius idea.
Okay, yeah, so the next thing after that.
Okay, so your genius idea Okay, we're poo-pooed that one.
We're past that. I just know that you'll tear this one to shreds. I really don't see the appeal of 150 to 600. I didn't even read it.
Bruce, can I just say,
this
guy's maybe a photographer. I don't know. I haven't looked at the article. It's people like him that you may be reliant upon to send back your memory cards. Did you just not prove my point on your very first bloody thing? I don't see. I'd never be one to stifle innovation and can appreciate that these 150 to 600 mm lenses do have their merits. They're great for astro work, shooting the moon, or telephoto landscapes where you don't need a fast aperture. But I've seen these lenses become popular with sports and wildlife photographers. Wildlife photographers using a 600mm lens, Bruce. What the hell are they thinking?
Crazy. They should be using a wide angle like you shoot the moon.
Yeah, so that was a good shot, wasn't it? Yeah, that was a hell of a shot. I think the money would be better put towards a 70-200 2.8 or a 300mm 2.8. This guy's... I saw on scrolling through Facebook last night a Zeiss lens promo piece for a 1700mm f4.
Whoa.
Yeah. Now, this guy might be able to use that for his astro. Yeah. I have to, the thing looks enormous. I've got no idea how big this thing was, but I'm pretty disappointed. I don't think there's any comment section on this one, Bruce.
Oh, really? How disappointing!
And I've got to say, I do love that at the end of this article, they've got the promo for the best deals for 150 to 600mm lenses.
Yes.
It's like that's. Well, that's disappointing. There's no. What's the point of having a website that we can't take the piss out of the comments?
I know. I know.
This guy should be pilloried from pillar to post.
That's it.
God. Yeah, and the thing is, and this has always been one of my bugbears, one of my many bugbears, I might add, because I've got a few, Bruce, in case you hadn't noticed.
Right.
Was people listen to people like this?
Yes.
Yeah. Just because you've got an opinion doesn't mean you should share it, Basically, isn't it? It's like, keep that shit to yourself, dude. The world's bad enough. Yeah, listen to me, folks. My opinion's valid, and theirs aren't.
Opinions instead.
My opinion's very valid. Common bloody sense, Anyway.
Dear.
So that's a funny article. Well done, you.
Paul Sutton sent us one, and the first one is a Reddit post. If you look ugly in photos, it doesn't mean you are ugly in real life.
Hey, I dispute that.
Why do you dispute that?
Have you seen my face?
I look at your face every 2 weeks.
So they should know.
It's why we dropped the podcast back to fortnightly.
I like it. Okay, tell me what's this guy's lunar? This guy should be using 150 to 600 at 600mm for portraits. That way you're far away from the ugly.
That's right.
Distance helps. That's another good reason for 150 to 600. You can run.
I don't really understand the point of this.
The reason is that you're just not photogenic.
Right.
So you're not ugly. Right. You just don't take a good photo.
Right.
Now, there is some merit to this, but let's have a quick read what he says.
Okay.
It happens to a lot of people. In converting a 3D image like a person into a 2D image like a photo, some features are lost. Yeah, a whole D. One whole D is lost. We see in 3D, Bruce, because we have two eyes.
Right.
And a camera, Bruce, only has one.
Oh.
That can only see in 2D, so it doesn't get our facial features correct.
Right.
Sometimes the camera literally flips the photo like a mirror. What? If you look beautiful in the mirror, you're most likely very beautiful. What the hell is it? What? Sometimes the camera
this is
literally
sounding
flips
like an
the
AI
photo.
word salad.
Cameras distort reality, usually in subtle ways, but people who take lots of portrait shots will tell you that posture, how you stand, can make a world of difference. Not because it changes the way you look in person, which it can do, because like if you're slouched versus standing up, straight, totally makes a difference how you look. But because it strongly affects the way you show up on camera. People tell us in portrait shots to say that posture can make the world of difference, not because it changes the way you look in person, but because it strongly affects the way you show up in camera. I think some people instinctively have good camera posture, and it does a lot. Please say there's comments.
Well, it's Reddit, mate. It's all comments.
That's all. Is it? I've never read it, so I wouldn't know. Well, here's the thing.
One person said, clearly the only option is to get a sculpture of your own head done.
In mirror, because it looks like what you see in the mirror yourself.
And then someone replied to that and said, and carry that around with you.
Okay, now look, if we put this from an audiophile perspective like yourself, right, you'll say there's some merit to your voice sounds different, how you hear it versus how you hear it recorded.
Yep.
And that's because of how the body processes that information, how it resonates through all the different parts of your
bone conduction, what we call bone conduction.
So if you've only ever seen yourself in a mirror, seeing yourself not in the mirror can be slightly... It has the
disconcerting.
Same thing. It's a bit, again, like you're hearing your voice recorded, but seeing your face in a picture is slightly... There's anomalies to how you think you look, So I guess definitely there's some merit to that. And I would always say that some people, you look at them and you go, well, they're not particularly attractive, but the second you put them in front of a camera, all of a sudden, bang, they just come to life. And I was shooting a model, actually, I think it was last week, actually. I was shooting a model for this Tamron project, and when she arrived, it's like, okay, then. I thought we were going to struggle. But as soon as I put this model in front of the camera, straight away, she improved significantly from how she looked to my naked eye. So this is just last week. So this is a very recent example of this, how someone looks in real life versus how they model or how they photograph. So there's some elements to it, but I don't know. Maybe I'm not smart. I'm not sure how much of it is 2D v 3D and one... But I think there's a hell of a lot more to do with things like symmetry, and the more unusual looking a face tends to photograph more interestingly.
Yeah.
So I think there's a lot more to it than simply 2D, 3D.
Yeah, towards the end of that massive long essay, it got into all about confidence in front of the camera and how that can play a huge role to how photogenic you do or don't look. And I think there's some element of truth to that as well, that, some people just do know how to be in front of the camera, and some people really feel awkward all of the time when a camera's pointed at them. Yeah. So maybe there's something to that.
Well, there's definitely. I mean, you can learn poise, and look at a dancer, for example, versus a normal person walking along. Well, if that dancer had to pose, they know how to use their angles, they know how to use shapes, they know how to use forms. So there's lots of things that go together. But if we're just talking just a face, forget about posture, because that's a different kettle of fish. But if you're just talking about just simply the face, I think it has a lot more to do with symmetry and lighting than it has to do with confidence necessarily.
Right.
I don't know, but it's an interesting thing to ponder about. But if you start thinking that stuff too much, it makes it hard to shoot, because you're worried about so many factors rather than just doing. Right. Sometimes you just do. Anyway.
Yeah. And then I got an email from Philip Johnson.
Big Phil
sent us a story from Petapixel with the title, Adobe Staff Worry That Their AI Could Kill the Jobs of Their Own Customers.
It could kill their own jobs.
Yes.
Forget about the customers. Self-interest first, people. God sake, it's the 2020s. Self-interest first.
That's it.
Who knows where we're headed with that AI stuff.
I'm in two minds about this. I've long held the belief that AI will never take the jobs of people who are creative, because there is something about human creativity that is unique. But then when I see the advances that have been made in even just the last 12 months with things like Midjourney and the other image creation things, it's like, well, maybe I need to backpedal on that previous assertion.
Yeah.
I did only in the last week see a high-profile audio engineer post a thing saying he took a song, farmed it out to a couple of actual audio engineers to mix, and he also gave it to an AI to mix, and he came back and said, guys, we don't need to worry about AI just yet.
Yeah, just yet, but we're talking a year into it.
Exactly.
Well, that's exactly the same argument. We don't have to worry about digital cameras.
Exactly, yeah. And I have been saying on this podcast, this is year zero for this technology, and it's only going to get better and better and better. So,
or worse and worse and worse, depending on your point.
On your point of view.
I was just looking at an article earlier about a Lightroom plugin, an AI Lightroom plugin for Lightroom, and it learns your editing style and does the bulk lifting of all your editing.
Whoa!
So if your job is to be as a photo editor, and there's plenty of people who do that. Yeah. Well, there's some risk there, isn't there?
Does that mean I'll stop getting all those spam emails from people claiming to be retouchers?
Well, once they're out of a job, possibly, yeah. So there's lots of development there. I think my mate Scott Kivovitz, can't remember the name of his company now, the company he works for, but they do, it's entirely online. You upload all your wedding photos or your event photos, and in a couple of hours they're all downloaded, fully edited for you automatically. And I'm just getting tip of the iceberg stuff. So I would be worried that AI would be able to write Adobe software for them. Mm-hmm. So engineers, you might be out of a job too, and the photographers. I mean, the content creation itself is not AI doable just yet. As in, you can't go out and photograph Joe Blogg's wedding with AI.
No.
But every other aspect of it, how it's all edited, how it's uploaded, how it's distributed, will all work into the AI workflow. But still, I think the photographer if of all the people I'd be worried about, the photographer's the least at the moment. Yeah. For the same reason your audio engineer guy is saying. But until AIs are running drones and going around and shooting stuff, I don't think it's too much to worry about.
And from my perspective, it's going to be a while before the AI can actually run a mic lead and plug a mic in and set the mic position correctly and all that sort of stuff. Yeah. And maybe that's what it'll come down to, that the humans will be doing all the grunt work while the AI does all the
all the fun jobs,
the other stuff.
Yeah. Yes, it's twirl the dials and push the levers. Yeah. Man. Crazy stuff.
What do you got on your list?
Nothing. No, I sent you through. I've only got a couple of things. I sent you through the other day an Instagram reel, which I almost never watch Instagram reels, but if you can find the link to that, it'd be pretty good. But some guy, I don't know how he did it. Some guy had set up a stabilized camera that would rotate on a platform at the same speed of the rotation of the Earth, and then done a time lapse. So rather than a time lapse where the Milky Way goes across the sky, as we've seen many, many, many thousands of times, this was the Milky Way staying in place, and the Earth actually, us getting a perception of what the Earth rotating actually looks like. Yeah. And it was mind-blowing to watch. It was just so... it's like science fiction movies when you see, an asteroid tumbling past or something.
It's actually quite disconcerting the very first time you watch it.
Yeah.
Because you're like, what on earth is going on here?
It's our reality, but we just don't see or feel or understand. It's really quite remarkable. So I was really impressed with that.
It's actually probably the most real interpretation of our place in space.
Absolutely, because the Milky Way ain't moving like that.
That's it. We're the ones moving.
So I thought it was brilliant. It really struck me as soon as I saw it. I thought, that's pretty awesome. And the last thing I've got, because we've been talking a bit about AI impacting all sorts of stuff, but this software has come out. It's called deepfake detection software.
Whoa!
And this software, say if it's looking at you to determine if you're real or deep fake, it analyzes your blood flow.
What?
Somehow it can determine your blood flow and your heartbeat to determine if you're real or if you're AI.
Wow!
A deep fake.
Wow.
Yes, I mean, this is, we've been saying, well, how on earth are we going to be able to tell? Well, this is what's going to have to start to happen, is you're going to get all these weird-ass whole new things that we never even imagined. We have to have software to analyse a video to tell us if it's real or not. It's just crazy, crazy.
Through the week, I was on TikTok and I saw a guy talking about vishing. This is the latest iteration of a phishing scam, and it's based on the idea that an AI only needs a 3-second sample of your voice to completely synthesize your vocal delivery. And what they are doing, these nefarious actors, is using this technology. They'll ring, let's say, your other half, and they'll get a 3-second sample of her
She's more
voice.
like my other quarter.
Okay. 3-second sample of her voice. They go, sorry, wrong number, hang up. They then ring you and can synthesize her voice saying, I've been kidnapped. We need to, get some money out of the account to get me released, blah, 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 blah. And
I'll turn over and say, honey, who kidnapped you? She goes, what do you mean? Guess what? She's always in the other room. Yeah, always.
Yeah, it was just a terrifying thought, though, where this technology can go, particularly in the hands of bad actors.
Well, it's a bit like being in the bedroom, Bruce. You just got to have a safe word,
Exactly.
With your trouble and strife, we say, okay, if you ever get a weird phone call from me, ask me, what the size of my old fella is, for example. And I'll tell you, and then you can laugh and hang up. Because that's it. You need some proof. Yeah, and
I had exactly that conversation with Kath this week. I explained it to her, and I said, "Look, if you ever get a phone call from me or from Max asking for money, ask a question that AI would not know the answer to.
Absolutely, nothing to do with your bank account details.
Yeah.
No. But that's it. I mean, but there's so many people who don't. I mean, people get scammed all the time by these text message scams doing the same thing. My phone stopped working. My card, I borrowed a friend's one. Can you send $1,000? And people do. Yeah. So if you're going to get conned by a text message, you're going to get easily conned by AI.
Yeah. Absolutely.
It's just what it is. You can't be an idiot. Don't try. I'm not a conspiracy nut job, but don't trust instantly. What you're hearing. You try and use that very extremely rare thing called common sense. Mind you, my ex-wife, her husband got kidnapped for a ransom, so it does happen.
Yeah, right.
In real life, But they wanted $1 million, and so he wrote them a check, and they went to the bank to cash it.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
not the sharpest tools in the shed.
Yes. God, but so there was some nice free accommodation for a while, at least room and board.
3 meals a day.
That's right. Do all the sex you can ask for.
That's it.
All right, dude.
Oh, mate, well, good to chat. I hope you're feeling better soon.
Well, my voice has improved during the course. It must be starting to get exercise and loosen up a bit, so it's not too bad. Thanks, mate. Well, take care of yourself. Thank you, everyone, for listening.
And we'll talk to you in a couple of weeks.
Yes. Bye, all.
See ya.
You've been listening to Shutters Inc. For questions, comments, and feedback, email theboys@shuttersincpodcast.com.